When you see people coming from other industries, they have been very successful in the other industry and say, doesn't matter how successful I have been in the other industry, I want to get into that industry. You have to be able to think out of the box and break patterns. And if you break patterns in an industry which you know, then you have everything you need. Build a topic, take the most important players and get the other ones around. On the Metaverse thing, I believe Metaverse is much more than the blockchain space, but blockchain can enable ownership in the Metaverse. So there's a huge opportunity. But in 20 years, we will live in the Metaverse. Everyone asks me, Ralf, how does blockchain work? What does decentralization mean? And often my question back is, do you understand how HTTP works?
Hello, wonderful people. We're in Dubai this week meeting with the most amazing entrepreneurs in the blockchain and crypto space. And today with us, I've got Ralf, our dear friend from CVVC in Zug, now building amazing ecosystem in Dubai. Hi, Ralf. Thank you very much for being here.
Hi, Irina. It's my pleasure to be here.
You know, starting with the Middle East, but then why not aim for the world?
You know, we want to decentralize a little bit. So instead of having the power in Silicon Valley, we want to bring it to the Middle East, to our so-called Crypto Oasis at the end of the day. And as you said, I'm originally from Switzerland or from Europe. I'm Austrian. I moved to Zug, to the famous Crypto Valley in 2005, when there was no Crypto Valley. Then in 2013, we saw interesting entrepreneurs coming like Vitalik and the founder of Ethereum and Niklas Nicolais, the founder of Bitcoin Swiss. And we created out of this ecosystem the so-called Crypto Valley. And at this time, not 10 companies, not 20 people. And we just brought out the last top 50 report, and now it's more than 1,100 companies and more than 6,000 people. So most likely the biggest crypto ecosystem in the world. I love Dubai, so I would like to make Dubai and the Middle East to the biggest crypto and blockchain ecosystem in the world.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for that. That's certainly not a small task to achieve. How are you planning to do that?
How to plan that? I mean, you said I just recently moved to Dubai. I came the first time 1998, so it doesn't feel super recently. I came back 2016 to learn about the then existing ecosystem here. I met amazing people like Dr. Marwan, like yourself, like Said Al-Damaki. And I saw, hey, there's a big potential to build something in the UAE or in the Middle East in general. And then I came back, figured out who could be the partners. In Dubai, there's always a lot of noise, so you have to filter out 90% of that, what you hear, and focus on the relevant players. And we built a very great network here. We decided to frame it as Crypto Oasis, which I see as the umbrella for the whole region. It's not a company, it's more like you say, the Silicon Valley, I want to say it as the Crypto Oasis. We collected now the data from more than 600 organizations already in the UAE. So we will push that again, like we did it in Switzerland, and publish this open for everyone. And our target is to push that from 600 entities this year to the end of the year to probably 1,000 or a little bit more. And you know, we are partnering up with DMCC. Our first location is in DMCC in the Almas Tower. We opened up in April last year, and now we have already 170 companies in DMCC. So it grew very fast in the blockchain space.
So you mentioned that there is a lot of noise in Dubai, and so some people complain about that. Other people complain about the lack of banking support. Other people complain about the lack of talent. Do you see that as a relevant complaint, or do you think people just have something to complain about? And if you don't see that as a relevant complaint, what is really happening on the ground?
You know, in general, I hate complaining, but I like to take the chance to change things. If you complain about banking, then educate banks. We had this in Switzerland in 2016. We brought the companies to Liechtenstein, to the then famous Bank Frick, today we have 5, 6 banks in Switzerland open to work with us. Here in Dubai, we are now talking to several banks, trying to educate them at the end of the day. And some of our Swiss banks are coming to Dubai now. So SEBA is opening an office, Signum is opening an office, ISP is opening an office, Arab Bank is very open to work here, Swissquote is open to work. So, instead of complaining, change it. On the noise side and on the talent side, probably that comes a little bit together. In the last 2 years, a lot of people discovered Dubai for them because Dubai has been very open in the COVID crisis, and I think they handled that very well. They had a short, hard lockdown to check if it's dangerous or not, and then they opened up for the world. And this was one of the few places worldwide where you really could gather. I mean, Iman had a great event with the ARBC Summit. It was bringing a lot of people together. And I don't think that it was a strategic plan to move in the Middle East. It was because Malta was closed and here it was open. And a lot of things like that happened in that time. And so this attracted a lot of people and also talent. Now we see software developers moving to Dubai. Before they have probably been going to Asia in summertime. Now it's not fun to travel there when you are staying in quarantine and so on. And so from the 3 pillars, infrastructure, Dubai is world class, capital, the Middle East is good, but in the blockchain space we are able to raise worldwide, and talent, the UAE is picking up. We see more and more talent coming here. The last concern is the noise, the people who are talking more and building less. I think you have to make the experience. I mean, Dubai is about noise. I think you are not seeing anywhere in the world more Lamborghinis like in Dubai. And the old question out of our industry, when Lambo is when you got $2,000 on the bank account, you get a Lambo for a weekend. So you have to cut this out. And, like you do it and others do it, it's about the network and the trust. And it's probably 2 or 3 calls to check someone quickly and see if he's legit or not. And there's our nice quote, do your own research.
Great. Tell me more about the DMCC Crypto Center. Tell me which direction do you want to take it? Because surely, here's the center, come work out of here, get a license out of here is not the end goal. What are you aiming for?
Yeah, that's a long question and an even long answer. My idea in general is I want to make a big soccer field where the rules are defined and we see a lot of football players on the soccer field. And on the soccer field, you see at the end the good players which you want to have in your team, or the very good players where you want to invest, or the other players where you don't want to engage. And my target is to be connected to the whole ecosystem with my team and to find the 10% best of them to invest in them, together with you, together with other funds like Gulf Capital, like Woodstock, like Draper-Gorenholm. So we're partnering up to invest together. And how do you find the best deal flow? You have to talk to a lot of people. And then with DMCC, why did we choose DMCC before ADGM or DIFC? I thought it's probably easier in a non-financial area to start that off. And with Ahmed bin Sulayem, I found a partner to do that. And DMCC, and a lot of people don't know that, is regulated in the back by ESCA, by the mainland regulator. So when you get it there, then you come to the mainland regulator, and there we figured out some way to work. In the moment, it's more non-regulated business, so not exchanges, not custodians, not brokers. It's on the tech side, it's now on the NFT side, it's on the prop trading side. And I'm interested to bring that forward. You know, in Switzerland, we worked together with the regulators on the new law in Switzerland. We worked on the new law in Liechtenstein, and this all is a process which takes 3, 4, 5 years. And one day we probably will be able to also have a big exchange here. And most likely not in DMCC, most likely in other
like Binance?
areas. Yeah, Binance also, CC came to DMCC, CC signed an MOU with DWTC, which is great. I think it's difficult at the moment to really onboard Binance in a jurisdiction fully fledged, but Binance has all the financial power to get compliant, but also there it's a way to get there.
For sure. Are you concerned about other crypto centers coming up? There's one coming up in JBR, there is one coming up in Dubai World Trade Center. Do you see that as a competition?
Totally not. Totally not. I'm happy about everyone who's coming in because I still believe this whole ecosystem is probably like 1 to 1 centimeter or square centimeter. And the market could be the whole wall behind us. So I'm happy about everyone who is helping and building this ecosystem. So I want to open up other centers in other areas. I have been to Riyadh the last days, Bahrain, Qatar, whatever. There's a lot of things to do, but only the opportunity in Dubai is so huge at the moment. And when we can scale that out of here, I'm sure there's enough space for everyone.
With really interesting projects coming up, I mean, you and I just discussed Cross the Ages, one of my favorite gamify projects. Do you see a gamify metaverse trend as a passing trend that will just, will die a natural death like ICOs? Or do you think it's something is in there, something long term for all of us to get involved and excited about?
For example, I think ICOs didn't die. Because we still do token sales in any kind of way. It just has another name. So the token is a core part of our blockchain industry. And it's always funny when you hear, yes, I like blockchain, but I don't like crypto. A blockchain without a token doesn't work. Quite simple. Now, on the Metaverse thing, I believe Metaverse is much more than the blockchain space. But blockchain can enable ownership in the Metaverse. So, and there's a huge opportunity. And I mean, I think we are not so early to understand that if Facebook is rebranding to Meta, it's already public. So even New York Times knows it now. And I think there's a huge opportunity. And that's probably interesting. We decided to, beside our equity investments, our token investments, to make also an investment structure which is investing in NFTs and in Metaverse objects. So we call this Crypto Oasis Metaverse Collection. And on the other side, we are trying to work on the history of the Metaverse. There's a book called Snow Crash. I think it was 1993 when that came out, where the first time the term Metaverse was named. And we created a project called Snow Cash, and we are curating the old digital art, the first NFT art, and all the way into the Metaverse in that project, and trying to build a part of the history which is happening. And I see the Metaverse as a big business opportunity, but I'm also a little bit afraid. I'm afraid where this heads. I mean, you see the people already being 8 hours a day on Instagram, and for me the Metaverse is a virtual Instagram or virtual whatever, because on Instagram most of the people are another person, are not themselves, having filter that you don't recognize them anymore, living a life what they are not living usually, showing surroundings.
Yeah,
and
the private jets and the Lambos,
absolutely.
Which they rent per hour.
Absolutely. And when you look at the Metaverse, most likely there will be something where you can run away from your normal existence into a virtual existence. And that's scaring me a bit.
You don't think we already live in the Metaverse?
I don't believe, usual when you look at hype cycle from technology, in the first moment, we overestimate the impact. So at the moment we are in that moment, oh, metaverse, we overestimate it.
No, I mean, like, do you think we already live in a simulated reality?
Yeah, wait a moment. Of what I want to come, and then we will see that we will see the turn down and a metaverse crash, and no one will be interested anymore. But in 20 years, we will live in the metaverse, everyone, and I still hope that I can live in the real world and will not only drift over there, because I mean, I was a big fan when the first Matrix movie came out, and I don't know if you remember that, when you see the people in the small places and only the energy is taken from them. And I envisioned that a little bit like that. You know, you probably be in your small sleeping room in your virtual world, have your thing, and you're not living your real life. You're living that life, and yeah, I hope I will not live like that, but I don't want to pass this business opportunity, because if you don't like it, don't ignore it.
So we've partnered up on the Crypto Oasis Centium, and we're happily supporting your deal flow with the Launchpad, and we're happily supporting, co-investing together. Tell me more. Tell the audience more about Crypto Oasis Centium, and how is it different from CV Labs and the Crypto Oasis? How does it fit? How does this puzzle fit into the whole ecosystem?
You know, with Centium, we created an early stage token investment vehicle for the region. So when we invest in a startup, then there must be one connect here to the region. That's the reason why I call it an ecosystem fund. Technically, it's not a fund, it's a prop trading company in DMCC. It was very important for me to use a structure which is local, not a BVI or a London-based or Luxembourg-based or whatever. And we're going to invest in 50 to 100 projects early stage, which are willing to set up in Dubai or in the Middle East, or which are already here. And we do something similar from CVVC side for Africa, where we have a local fund in Africa. So I believe this local is important, because we have people, GPs, LPs, they say, hey, look, I'm interested, but I also want to support the region, to grow the region. That's the reason why we decided to open this rather smaller investment structure, but dedicated for the region. And of course, we have a plan to put on a second structure on it, which do the follow-up investments, which should be a little bit bigger. And the most important thing is also here for me, I don't see competition with other funds and other structures, because we are strong when we invest together. When a startup comes to us and we say, hey, we like you very much, we give you from our side the funds and network, but we also can give you the intro to Irina, the intro to others, and you probably have your round already done, and you can focus on building instead of focus on raising funds.
I actually honestly think it's rather silly when people try to compete with each other or feel jealousy or competition within the crypto space, invest with my fund but not with that fund. I mean, the pie is so big, we don't know how big the pie is. I think the pie is huge, and we're fighting for a slice which is so tiny. I think and I'm sure you heard of the Las Vegas concept. Once you put restaurants and casinos on one street, more people come to the restaurant next door, and more people come to your restaurant. So there is no competition. On contrary, it's building together, and that's what I really like about what you say about the ecosystem and building the ecosystem. It just makes sense.
I mean, Dubai is world class in doing that. When I came here in 1998, they created the media city and the internet city. At this time, I saw quite huge buildings. Today, they are rather small when you compare it. And I was wondering who is going to go there. And 2 years later, IBM, Microsoft, all the companies onboarded there. And it's about build a topic, take the most important players, and get the other ones around. And that's what Dubai is world class in.
You've supported quite a few projects over the last couple of years. Do you want to give shout out to some of the amazing entrepreneurs and some of the amazing projects that are building in the Middle East, that are building Dubai as the crypto hub? Do you want to give shout outs to any names? No pressure.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all. You know, there are really a lot of cool projects out. We just decided today to invest in Collection. It's an NFT platform with an Indian background. I mean, that's a huge market for itself. So you say another NFT platform. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of NFT platforms out, but the Indian market is huge, and you have other topics there like Bollywood and similar things where we believe that could be great. And the founder, Abe, is a very smart and dedicated guy, and that at the end of the day, it's about the team and not only about the project. Then we have in our DMCC Crypto Center, the company eBay. They are doing rating of cryptos, AI-based, very interesting approach, very major team coming out of the old finance industry and bringing the knowledge into our space. We have been investing there. We have been advising there as well. Yeah, I mean, we are also investing in other structures. We are invested in Shisha Finance, for example, not only because of Said Al-Damaki, also because of the idea how to engage the local community here with our industry. And I think that's very important. How do we get in the local community in that part? Another project we just recently signed is EX Sports. It's a sports platform for niche sports, more or less. Also with NFTs connected as every project at the moment, with very dedicated founders. And the founders, Tolly Makris, is already 20 years in that area. Mm-hmm. And I like that when they know their area since 20 years. And then they say, hey, I can build something else. I'm more skeptic when I see people and say, oh, I understand a little bit what blockchain is doing. I'm now going to disrupt the music industry. And when you ask them, what is your experience in the music industry? Yeah, I'm listening to music from time to time. Okay, thank you very much. So it's about the team, about the knowledge, and how do you get there? I mean, only in the last 10 weeks, we invested in 12 projects, I think. So so we have a lot of things to do, and we'll move on.
We will mention all these projects, all the details behind under this video. So because I want everybody to come and check out what amazing projects we have and what is happening. And I actually quite like what you mentioned, you know, let some people, some entrepreneurs learn about blockchain, learn about crypto, and want to disrupt an industry that they know nothing about with the use of crypto. I actually like the other way around. When you know everything about law, for example, from my side of view, so let's bring in blockchain and crypto to disrupt law. Not the other way around, because then you'll have to learn the whole industry from scratch. How can you possibly do that?
Absolutely. But there is probably one thing I would love to add. What is also dangerous when you're coming only out of the industry and then you say, oh, we did it always like that. It's not possible to do it another way. You have to be able to think out of the box and break patterns. And if you break patterns in an industry which you know, then you have everything you need, I think. I mean, a great project we invested in Switzerland already a few years ago is Utopia Music. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know the guys.
Of course.
And Utopia, we came in quite early. It's already 400 or 500 million valuation. They will make 50 million of revenues this year. So, you know, it's one of the few projects in the blockchain space which is not in the financial side and making relevant revenues. And I think there is a lot of space for improvement or room for improvement in that area outside of the financial space, and really having business cases which are going to work.
Yeah, Matthias is one of the smartest men I've met, and I was absolutely loved the way he thinks and how he's approaching solving problems. And I think that is more important, how you approach solving problems rather than knowing something. Because if you know something, like, you stop there, right?
A few guys of Citadel decided to open up a liquidity provider called Portofino. Very interesting, very smart guys from Citadel, coming from zero on the blockchain space to 150% in just a few months. growing super fast. So what excites me is when you see people coming from other industries, they have been very successful in the other industry and say, doesn't matter how successful I have been in the other industry, I want to get into that industry. I mean, you have been a successful lawyer, but you want to get into that industry because everyone sees there's coming up something disrupting the whole digital economy. So, and for me, it's exciting to be part of that, and it is exciting to grow that and support as many companies as possible and take in as many friends and people to join that, not as an investment advice, but as being part, learning and getting into it.
It's okay. I can give investment advice, and I highly recommend everybody to get into crypto and blockchain. Do your own research first, but absolutely. Somewhere between 3 to 5% of the world's population holds crypto.
Are you sure?
Huh?
Are you sure?
No, we're not sure because we never know.
I don't believe it, but I think it's still less than that.
You think less than 3%?
Yeah.
Well, some exchanges estimate all the way 5, some 3, some 4. So let's say 3 to 5. But that's the beauty about crypto. You never know, right? Yeah. Because it's not your job to know if that guy has any crypto or not. But let's assume that's the fact. Somewhere between 3 to 5. But in some countries like UK, Australia, Singapore, Germany, 80% heard about crypto, 80% heard about Bitcoin, 80% have some sort of understanding what Bitcoin is. Why do you think there's such a huge gap between less than 3 and 80?
You know, hearing about something on investing or putting money into it are total different things, first of all. I mean, Bitcoin got famous. If you read any newspaper, if you watch any news, it was hard to get not through the Bitcoin story. On the other side, to onboard in that world, it means you have to have a little bit of a technical understanding still. So usability is not great. In some areas, slowly. And on the other side, I mean, a lot of people totally don't care about investing. If you have enough money to live every month and nothing on the bank account, and 80% of the population worldwide is not having money to invest. They are just living and trying to survive from one salary to the next if there's a salary. And so I think that's the gap, and we will see this gap filled when we have real world applications, when our Skyward miles from Emirates are not only Skyward miles, when there are also tokens, then everyone who has Skywards will be a token holder. And a lot of other areas where I think we will interact with this technology without understanding it. As every transaction of value will be tokenized in 10 years. And so you will use it without knowing to use it. And you see it also on that side. Everyone asks me, Ralf, how does blockchain work? What does decentralization mean? And often my question back is, do you understand how HTTP work? And the people say, no, HTTP, or yes, I've heard about it. And I said, look, this is the protocol behind the internet. You don't understand it, but you use it every day. You don't care.
Yeah, why should you care? Why should I? I have very little understanding how electricity works, and why should I care? I turn on the light, right?
Absolutely.
All I care is that there's light in my house.
Absolutely.
And I think once we get to crypto, when it's that easy to use, we'll get to users, right?
No, we should stop to talk only about that. We will talk about how we transfer values and which are values. And at the end of the day, we transact all day with values. And the most valuable thing we have at the moment is our identity. And our identity should be on the blockchain, but this is not so easy to achieve. But we will get there.
Once we live in the Metaverse.
When we live in the Metaverse. Now, also our identity outside of the Metaverse is very important. And I mean, you know, we are often talking about banking the unbanked. This is a great thing, but we should give people an identity who do not have an identity today. A lot of people in the US and other countries don't have a passport. So And when you have a digital passport and you are able to log in, and when you are able to share data when you want to share data, and not sharing data automatically when companies like Facebook, Google, or whoever wants that you share your data, then we're a step further. Self-sovereign identities and all that stuff, what's coming on. But this will take another 5 to 10 years.
Thank you so much. I want to thank you, first of all, for being here. I want to thank you for what you're doing for the entire ecosystem. Thank you very much from all of us. It's really been a pleasure talking to you. And I'll see you at the AIBC Summit in March in Dubai, where 20,000 people from GameFi, Metaverse, DeFi, and other crypto segments will get together to meet amazing investors like yourself and amazing ecosystem builders like yourself. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Irina. I'm looking forward to the AIBC Summit and to our next interview.